evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show tonight, as we get into election mode with nearly half of the voting population under the age of 35, what is it that young India wants and who do they connect with more? Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi, or a totally different brand of politics? That'll be our special focus in just a few minutes from now. But first, the big news of the day. High drama outside the UP Assembly this evening with BJP supporters led by Uma Bharti preventing the arrest of BJP MLAs against whom there are non-bailable arrest warrants regarding the Muzaffarnagar riots. Uma Bharti in fact dared the government to take them into custody. At least 3 BJP MLAs who have been booked by the police actually attended the assembly today. There are also other legislators against whom arrest warrants have been taken out, but no arrests have been made so far. Let's just first listen into what Uma Bharti said just a little while earlier.
I believe that today's action at the gate, if any of the MLAs arrested, it means they want to restart the riot again, and this time to please a particular community, they will attack a particular community, and that is the design. Because without any investigation, it has been promised on the floor of the assembly, and we all have given the assurance, and every party has said it, that without investigation, there should be no action against anybody. But if they take the action, it means that there is a plan, there is a conspiracy on the mind of the government to restart the riot again, and this time they want to target one particular community in one party.
You demand immediate president's ruling of the president?
I think the government should be dismissed. Now I can say it, because what they said on the floor and what is happening on the gate, it is a total 100% opposite what they said on the floor. It means this government is not reliable. This government wants to create riot again. This government should be dismissed immediately.
Well, joining us now from Muzaffarnagar, my colleague Srinivasan Jain, and from Lucknow, my colleague Anand Zanane. Vasu, to you first. It's completely absurd, the kind of drama that we're seeing playing out here, where you have arrest warrants against these legislators, but the police are unable to arrest them. What's the latest?
Well, Nidhi, one doesn't know what is more outrageous. The fact that someone like Uma Bharti will make such provocative statements, even hinting at the possibility of riots, at a time when you now have 41 refugee camps in Muzaffarnagar and almost 29,000 people displaced just in this district alone. Or, as you pointed out, a state government that technically doesn't need warrants to arrest these politicians against whom there are already serious charges, but gets them anyway. And then, despite the fact that these politicians turn up at the assembly and they're openly able to get away once again in a very brazen act of defiance. Also to point out to you, Nidhi, that the other shocking example of the state government's inaction is Kadir Rana, the BSP MP right here from Muzaffarnagar, who, as we've been tracking for the past week, is still missing. We went to his house today here and in Delhi, no sign of him. But even worse, Nidhi, no indication that the state government has made even a basic attempt to track down Mr. Rana.
Right. Anand, coming to you, what are the police saying about the possibilities of these arrests, and why only these BJP legislators? After all, there are other legislators against whom action has to be taken as well.
Well, these BJP leaders essentially surfaced in the assembly today, Nidhi, which is why perhaps they were the focus of, these arrests. And as soon as news came in that they are present in the assembly, senior police officials, the IG Law and Order, the ADG Law and Order, they also came to the assembly perhaps to work out modalities as to whether these people can be arrested, because there was some amount of confusion about whether they can be arrested while the assembly is in session. Also, the whole aspect about maintaining sanctum sanctorum of, the assembly, whether they can arrest them inside the assembly or whether these have to happen outside with the consent of the speaker. So these officials were present in the assembly, and so were these leaders who have been booked. 2 of them have arrest warrants against them. One of them was not there, the BJP MLA Kumar Bharatendra. And essentially, when these MLAs started coming out of the assembly, we did get a feeling that perhaps these arrests will happen today, but the manner in which they were completely surrounded by BJP MLAs and also a large number of BJP supporters made it absolutely impossible for the police to actually step in and take charge of the situation. And they later on went to the BJP headquarters, and after going to the BJP headquarters, Uma Bharti left, and so did Hukum Singh and Sangeet Som, who actually surfaced today for the first time after he's been booked for actually uploading inflammatory video, a Facebook video, which went viral in Muzaffarnagar. So whether we will see similar scenes in the assembly tomorrow, well, that remains to be seen. Uma Bharti is left for Varanasi. Sangeet Som may not attend the assembly tomorrow. So is this a missed opportunity for the UP police, or whether perhaps there was a conscious decision? Because clearly Uma Bharti was, as Vasu pointed out earlier, that in referring to the fact that riots could happen or could flare up, and hinting to the possibility of that. So perhaps a sense of caution also creeping in the minds of the UP police before actually going ahead and making these arrests.
All right, Anant and Vasu, thanks very much for that update there. Never a dull day there in Uttar Pradesh. Well, moving on to our special focus tonight. 47% of voters in the next general election will be under the age of 35. And that is why, like never before, political parties across the board are going all out to target the youth vote. But what exactly does young India want, and which leader do they connect with the most? Ketki Angre has more.
ये हक है इन गरीबों का। और एक बात, अंत्योदय अन्न योजना से गरीब
Another attempt to grab the attention of the youth.
30 किलो राशन का हक मिलता है।
Also part of the grand old party's attempt to attract the young voter is the new focus on social media, as new and younger faces are brought in. And the party's recent drubbing in the Delhi University elections is being closely studied, since Delhi is viewed as a microcosm of India. The biggest chunk of eligible voters today falls in the category of 18 to 35 years. In fact, Election Commission estimates suggest 150 million this time around are first-time voters, a crucial constituency no political party can afford to ignore. The BJP has set a target of 10 million new members through a sustained membership drive. Already comfortable in the social media space, it aims to reach out to young voters through online interaction with its prime ministerial candidate.
We consider them as a future, and we are trying all the aspects. First, through the people-to-people contact, which will be done by our organizational people. Second, through rallies. Third, through media, and fourth, through social media.
The Aam Aadmi Party is offering a fresh set of leaders to youth impatient for change.
We have a separate student wing which is going to every college.
They may be young and restless, but today they are a powerful political constituency and they want to be heard.
People want to raise their voice, and even recent things such as protests and all, then people want themselves to be heard. They don't want to be sitting at home and just watching the TV and oh, ye kaise ho gaya. But they want to be the change. They want to do something.
They have an opinion about everything, so I think it's good that the young people that below 35, they take an initiative and vote. So I think it can actually change the outcome.
The first time when we practiced the vote in our college, we felt that empowerment when we voted that yes, we brought so and so party, we brought so and so candidate to power, and we would exercise the same thing in the general elections also.
In New Delhi with Neha Khanna, Ketki Angre for NDTV.
Well, joining us on the program tonight, we have Randeep Singh Surjewala, Cabinet Minister in the Haryana government and Congress leader. We have Vani Tripathi, spokesperson of the BJP and a prominent young leader from that party. We have Shivam Vij, journalist and blogger, joining us tonight from Delhi. And also with us, Rahul Gandhi, National Executive Member of the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me ask Shivam Vij first. Everyone's talking about how young people are going to play a big role in this election. Shivam, 47% of eligible voters will be below 35. And then the next question is, what exactly does young India want? What do you think young India wants? If I was to ask you that rather big generic question.
I think this young voter thing is a bit overestimated, overhyped every election. This is not the first election. I've actually in previous elections asked in Uttar Pradesh Yadav voters or Dalit voters, what do they want? Do they think differently? And actually you'll be surprised how status quo is they tend to be, because they think of jobs, inflation, etc. And so they tend to think of identity politics. So they in fact are more resistant to change than you would think. And it is the older voters who maybe have loyalties to parties, but the younger voter thinks about employment, economy, inflation, their prospects, their jobs, scholarships, and to that extent they tend to vote more obviously than you would think.
That's very interesting what you say, because it also adds up in a sense when you look at the young leadership in this country. For example, right now Akhilesh Yadav is under fire for his leadership in Uttar Pradesh. So does that reflect on the young leadership also?
Absolutely. Akhilesh is the best example. He was so overhyped, but he's proven to be just another Samajwadi Party politician.
Let me get Chetan Bhagat in. Author Chetan Bhagat's here in the studio with us. Do you agree with Shivam there, or do you believe that young people in India today, let's talk about urban Indians in particular, because that's one group, and I'm sure rural Indians have different aspirations, but You know, he says they are, you know, into identity politics, their status quo, and we would be surprised by that. And yet others believe that this is a generation that's more aspirational, aggressive. Do you think that there's anything different?
I think it is different. And I would include the rural also. Whatever my limited experiences with villages is, the term often uses zindagi mein kuch banna hai, or, you know, I want to come up in life. Often you might find that the rural youth would prefer his leader to give him this aspirational, but as well as be from his caste or her caste. You know, they'll say, you know, but if he's from my caste and he can make me become something in life, it's even better. But it's so, maybe it's in the rural areas, the caste equations matter a little more. In the more educated set, it's more about coming up in life. But the other thing which, and here's a tip for all the politicians contesting in 2014, which I think a lot of them are missing about the youth, is personal freedom. The concept of personal freedoms is new in India, and people are very scared, very scared youth, that some leader will come and say girls shouldn't wear jeans, they should not go out, Valentine's Day should not be celebrated, especially in certain parties where these kind of elements often thrive. So this is another big issue. Youth wants to come up in life, but they are also more broadly liberal. I mean, they don't want an India where there are restrictions on personal freedom.
It's interesting you say that, because I'm just going to take that back to Shivam briefly, because Shivam, you're saying the opposite. You're saying in a sense that they may be more regressive than older politicians were.
Well, no, not more or less, but just the same. You know, for instance,
really
if you ask the question, do young voters prefer younger leaders? Do young voters prefer to vote for younger politicians? Now, that's not always true, because they see in older politicians a greater sense of confidence and security. So, you will see politicians like Ajit Singh or Mulayam Singh still commanding a lot of respect with their voters. Similarly, lot of young voters might feel between Sonia and Rahul more comfortable with Sonia, more experienced. They do not necessarily identify with the young politicians. I think all of this is just media hype.
I'm going to take off on that and ask Randeep Surjewala that one would think that in the normal course, a 43-year-old Rahul Gandhi would then be the, in a sense, representative of this new India that everybody talks about, rather than a 64-year-old Narendra Modi. And yet, survey after survey that you see, for what they're worth, will tell you that people are disconnected. Young people are disconnected from what Rahul Gandhi has to say, because they don't really understand what he's saying, and would prefer Narendra Modi over him, because he comes across as a more decisive leader with ideas that are very clear, whatever they may be. How would you respond to that criticism?
Nidhi, there are two things. One, I disagree with Shivam, and I seem to agree with Chetan when he says that the young in India are today aspirational. They want accountability, they want execution, they want delivery. Yes, they are impatient and aggressive, but they are also aspirational, they are forward looking. And as the whole debate about Mr. Narendra Modi and Shri Rahul Gandhi is concerned, what is the vision for the youth that Mr. Narendra Modi has projected? I ask myself, and I ask the young. And what is it that Mr. Rahul Gandhi symbolizes? He said 4 things. A, Congress is ready to engage with the youth. B, Congress wants to be, and he feels that the young in this country do not have as much voice as they need to have. C, they must have opportunity. And D, you must trust them. When you engage with them in politics or otherwise in social life, when you trust them, you give them opportunity, you give them voice.
These are Rahul Gandhi's philosophies.
Yeah, that is the philosophy that Congress under Rahul Gandhi has projected. And we have implemented it in specific terms.